Okay, we're live. Let's play some music. Well, welcome everyone to a new episode of the Women's Empowerment Series. I have with me a beautiful and amazing guest, Hannah Charlotte from UK. I'm so honored and so happy to have you with me today. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm honored to be here. Thank you for asking me.
Where are you connecting from exactly?
I am in the UK, on the very south coast of England. So if anyone's heard of the city of Southampton, that's where I live, just outside of Southampton.
Is it getting cold already? Because
It's
still in summer.
freezing. It's freezing. Yeah, my heating's just.
It's still summertime almost here. I mean, it's kind of warm for the season. In October, usually we need a little cover, but now it's like, all summer is still.
Oh, so lucky. So lucky. Yeah.
Oh, this is Heather. Here's Heather joining us. Heather, it's so good to have you. Heather is also in the UK, so might be. Yeah. Hi, Nibras from Rabat. So we have Women's Kindness. It's so good to have you with us. I have a beautiful guest, and I'm so excited because I feel like all the energy when I put you on today, as I was putting you on Instagram, is like, let's dance. It's like a Whitney Houston kind of beat. I don't know why, but it just inspired me that. And maybe that's the name of your work also, right? Hula hoop. So it feels like, let's all hoop.
I know, let's all hoop.
So tell us about you and how it all started, how you became such a beautiful mentor and a renown in your field. How did it all start from?
Oh, yeah, it's a bit of a story. So I have been an entrepreneur for the last 14, 15 years.
Oh, wow. For quite a bit. Before being a mom or as you were a mom?
My oldest daughter is now 15. So actually around this, the story kind of coincides when she was born because
that's quite bold, huh? To have a baby and like, okay, you know what? Let's also do something more challenging and be an entrepreneur also, isn't it?
So actually, that's part of the story because I didn't really have a choice at the time because I actually got made redundant from my job as a flight attendant. So I was.
You were a flight attendant.
I was a flight attendant.
What is it for? British Airways?
No, Japan Airlines, actually.
Oh, really? What brought you to be in the Japan Airlines? How come?
Yeah.
I told you there's something exciting about you. I just felt it.
I was a flight attendant from the age of 18, and so I initially worked for a short haul UK airline, and then I applied for Japan Airlines, and I got a job out in Japan with Japan Airlines for I think I was there for 3 years.
Is it called Nippon or something airline? Is it called?
ANA is
yes, I remember that ANA. It's actually a very good flight. Yes.
Yeah, so there's two. There's ANA and then there's JAL, which is the one I work for. And I was actually training to be a pilot at the time. So I qualified as a pilot. And I actually became pregnant with my daughter, my eldest child, who's 15 now. And at the same time, I had her, went back to work part-time initially with Japan Airlines and was due to get married to her dad. And basically, if you remember around, it was 2009, like the global recession started to, 2009, 2010, you remember a lot of airlines started to make redundancies or like just go bust. And my job was actually, I was made redundant at that time. And in the same week, my daughter's dad, he left me for someone else. And so basically I had like everything happening like 1 week. I had a job, security, I had my daughter, we had a wedding that we were planning, I was qualifying to become a pilot, and then suddenly the next week I had no job, no partner, no wedding. I wasn't going to become a pilot, and I'm like literally,
what do I have? You had your daughter.
I had my daughter. I
had the unconditional love of your daughter, right?
Exactly. But that was my point. That was my point where it was, do I sit here like and do nothing, or do I do something now with my life? And that's where I kind of like, I was in a lot of pain, but I transmuted a lot of that pain into like, obviously my daughter, but like, and concentrate on her, but also into the path of entrepreneurship. And at that time, however many years ago, 14, 15 years ago, my perceived thoughts of what success was, you know, was like, it was almost like my revenge at the time, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
But now, you know, it's different. I don't
No,
see it.
you don't approach it as revenge. We understand that this is not a good thing to have.
Yeah. But it was my driving force.
I think you can also say it's not just a revenge. It's like maybe a promise to yourself that you will never let yourself down or let anyone put yourself down, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like if you even using that word, it's like you can rewrite it, your own story. And like, you know what? That word is not part of my story anymore. That's it.
No.
Because that's what we do, right? When you have like, you've lost things, people that they didn't, you know, it was a promise and the promise was not respected, all of that. Would you just make yourself a promise? I'm not gonna let myself.
Yeah, that's it. And it was more, and a bit at the time, it was, you know, I was still seeking that external validation back then. And it was like, okay, I'll show you type of thing, you know, but it turned out, you know, the whole path unraveled as I sort of went down that route of entrepreneurship. Initially, I had a business in beauty industry, so I had a beauty salon, and then I discovered the hula hoop, which kind of brings me into where I'm sort of at, I suppose, now. So the hula hoop was initially just, it was a fitness tool for me, and it was just a way for me to tone up after having a child.
So what is the hula hoop? Is that what you have on your picture? Is this round thing? Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, it's just a, you know, like a kid's toy.
The kids love that. You know, they like turn around with it. Just love it.
Yes. Yeah. And for me, it was just, I mean, it's a great way to tone up, like the core muscles. So if you're looking for a way to tone up, and that's what I was
like
seeking.
what, like the abs and you know everything that is center. Also the back as well, or just you know the core, the back as well.
The back, strengthening the back muscles as well. But as for me, as I say, it was just something I bought a hoop off of eBay, and
but how? It's like, did you just wake up one day? I'm like, you know, I want to have one. How did it?
I was just researching, you know, how to tone up the core, how to tone up the belly.
Into that.
Like, you know, what would work instead of doing like loads of 100 sit-ups a day. I was like,
I never hate that. And those abs that you need to count 100 of them. I know. Oh yes. I mean, it's like, instead of doing that, I remember you know, I have 4 children. So it's like, I always like, I'm not going to do that. But I remember our ballet teacher, she was telling us, you know, you always need to squeeze in your belly in. So it's like you are continuously working out your abs. And I was like, this is I'm going to do it. But I love this hula hoop thing. It's more fun. I didn't know that.
And that's what I discovered, right? I discovered it was so much more than just exercising. It became my healing tool. Because, you know, what it was actually doing, it's a very somatic movement. It's very meditative. And and it very much, you know, you're not just waist tubing. I discovered a whole treasure trove of like.
Really? I would never think that. Wow.
Yeah.
What is that? Is it the movement? Is it the rhythm? Is it the repetition? What is it?
It's a mixture of everything. It's the movement, as you say, the repetition. It's very meditative. And, you know, what it is also, it's a form of, it's known as a flow art. So you're flowing, you know, like yoga or like any kind of.
Like asana yoga. I'm into asana yoga these days. It's like very flowy.
Flow yoga. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So it's very much like that. It's a flow. And, you know, what I liked is when I was in my hoop, it became like a protective circle around me as well. And I felt inside that circle safety. And I felt that, you know, where I would just be in my lounge, like at night when my daughter had gone to bed, I put my music on. And
what type of music would you put?
Oh, like, you know, like anything like the Spice Girls or ABBA.
Oh, all right. So it's like really hot, big music. So it's not like, you know, because when you said meditation, I was like, maybe something more woo style. So it's not.
I do that too now. You know, if I'm in a mood where I feel like, I don't want like upbeat and everything. I want to feel a bit more like, actually, I want a bit of a cry today, and I want to feel like a bit more emotional. I might put something a bit more,
Really?
you know, like a different type of music on.
Like an opera.
Yeah.
Like Maria Callas.
Like,
No.
it depends what you're into. It's whatever, like kind of the music, any style really can, you know, whatever connects with you. But inside this
Incredible.
and I found my own magic and my own flow.
I love that. This is so precious.
It's very powerful. And I mean, a lot of people find this through any kind of movement. Some people find it in running, some people find it in dance, you know, some people find it in yoga. Movement in general, as you know, like is very powerful. It's a very powerful manifestation tool as well, using movement to tap into your creativity. Because when I was inside my hoop, what happened is my creative energy started to flow through me. And that's when I would channel ideas. And this is when I had this idea of, oh, you know, if I'm really enjoying this and this is helping me, perhaps this will help other people as well. So it was never in my plan at all to set up a fitness or a hula hoop business. That was just not in, you know, it was something I hadn't like.
Just came naturally.
It just happened.
What about your children? Have they enjoyed it as well? Because they could play with it as well, right?
They've had no choice.
They probably can show you even movements you didn't think about.
Yeah.
About them. Yeah.
They have been involved. They've enjoyed it, but the house has been full of hula hoops. So as
no, I bet how many hula hoops you have. That's a good one.
Oh dear. But you see, what happened is like this just random hula hoop, you know, I set up a class just initially because people come to my house, like friends and family, or they pick it up, have a go. Oh, this is such fun, such fun. So this is where, you know, I set up this class in my community hall initially. It was just one class. And it just from there, that's where the story started. It just then expanded because the demand was so high. So many people wanted this because it was so fun, right?
It was fun and different. And we like different.
It was fun. It was fitness. It was letting people tap in and reconnect with their inner child, even if they didn't know that's what they were doing. That's what they were doing.
It's like, you know, when you put it in, you think you're like a 6-year-old. I mean,
yes,
that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I had 90-year-old women coming to the class and
90, like 90?
90-year-old ladies, wow. Yeah, coming to the class.
Was she able to move?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, please don't.
But they, you know, they would pick it up, give it a go. Not everyone could do it straight away, but, you know, just even picking up and trying, people were like laughing and like, you know,
it was such a healing moment, really.
Yes, lots of joy in it. And so from there, again, you know, I could go on, but long story short is I created basically a global franchise. So it became a brand, which is now known as GlobeFit. And because there was only one of me, I couldn't teach everywhere, right? So I then created an instructor training program.
Okay.
We created children's holiday clubs and children as well. And then off the back of that came the World Hula Hoop Championships as well, which is now in its 3rd year running.
And you are the one running it.
Yes.
Oh God, congratulations. You're like the great leader of hula hoop of the world. I love that. I just love it. The title is just incredible. Where do you organize the hula hoop championship?
So it's all online because it's global. So it means anyone from anywhere.
Yeah. So they send you like videos of how they do it? Or you do it like live on Zoom?
No, so they will submit their entry and then we've got a panel of judges. So once that goes through to the deadline day, which is like the end of October this year, they will.
So you're like busy with this thing now.
Yeah.
And how many people submit?
So last year we had around 40 entries, I think. It's still quite niche. It's still not...
because it's not that known, but I am sure if you were to put that in TikTok, even my 14-year-old will probably send the video. I'm serious. It's like you just need more splash into this.
It's still growing. As I say, it's still sort of... we started it in COVID, like in the year 2020, and that's when the idea of doing it online came because it meant like everyone could apply. We had a lot of entries that year. So the plan is just to keep gradually building it as word starts to spread. And
Well,
it's okay.
congratulations. I love that. I love how you created a whole, empire from one idea, one fun idea, that you could have dismissed, right? You could just like, oh, whatever, that's not serious. But here's what it
Yeah, I think it's, as I say, it was never in a plan. I never thought, oh, this hula hoop's going to make me like my first million, like, or never in a million years would I ever have thought that. But I think what happens is when you follow joy and you follow the thing that lights you up, that money will follow. Like, and this is it. It's not chasing the money, it's chasing the passion, it's chasing the purpose
Yes.
and joy.
And the money comes. Yeah.
And that did, it came through various opportunities that I would never have seen coming. And, I spent years and years getting caught up in the how it was going to work.
Yeah.
And I didn't need to think about how it was going to work. I just needed to continue following what sort of my intuition was telling me on a daily basis. And now it has, yeah.
And following, if I may add that, following what makes you feel good. And I think that's what I hear through your story. It's like you choose each time, every day, you feeling good before everything else. And I think that's probably the secret behind any successful journey.
Yeah. Absolutely. And, I've sort of followed on from, I still run the fitness business and childcare business and the hula hoop, and I do all of that still.
That's amazing. That's going to keep you young forever. I love that. I love it.
No, I mean, I have a team now that work with me, but I'm now very much more sort of following the mentorship route, which I fell naturally into. And sort of creative entrepreneurs build brands.
That's what was going to be my next question, actually. It's like it's really this transition that you are naturally being able to do from the fitness, the teaching, into helping entrepreneurs grow, becoming multi-million entrepreneurs. It's like that shift. When did it just come? You like one day, okay, let me do it? Or how did it come about, that transition?
So I would say around 5 years ago, I had a lot of other people that had fitness brands or dance brands, or they ran dance classes, for example, that would come to me and say, like, how have you done this? How have you grown like a brand on this scale, like from starting out in a community class like I'm doing? And, from there, I would just sort of then spend some time with these people, just sort of sharing my story, really. And a lot of the hoops I've had to jump through, I would just...
Yeah, I like the analogy because it's true. But you're so good at it, right? So you're like, hey, in real life, in invisible life, I know how to do it.
Yeah. And I think it's just sharing, they come to me for mentorship in that way, for my advice, the challenges that I'd had to go through as well, because let's face it, it's not easy, and then I would sort of share and advise them. And from there, it just very naturally happened. They would tell someone as they watch their brand grow as well, by using the different strategies and things that I had used, then they tell someone about it. And then, it just grew from there very naturally, really. I haven't massively ever advertised for clients. I do run I run a mastermind, and I do like one-on-one mentorship as well, which has expanded now beyond creative entrepreneurship. But I would say that's where it started with, because that was my thing. That's the area, my expertise, where it began, I suppose.
So what do you give as advice to entrepreneurs when they come to you? Like, because a lot of frustration, you can feel it in the entrepreneurship these days. Frustration and longing for things to just go fast. Otherwise, let me go for another idea. Yeah. How do you keep them more patient and more grounded?
This is it. I think, we can get so caught up in the timing of when things are going to happen. And it is very much now about sort of, I suppose, showing people, or, through your own story, that being patient will pay off is the only way. And it's trusting, isn't it, in that divine timing? Because if you can lean back and trust, that everything has its time. It has its perfect time. Like, you know, people say sometimes that there is no perfect time. There is always a perfect time that's happening for you. And this is it. And I think until you're ready to hold something, it's not going to happen. You can't force it. You cannot, you know, I've been there in the past where I've tried to force things and it's always backfired. And I have, you know, I can use different stories of my own as an examples of times that I've pushed things and they backfired really badly on me.
Is that, yeah? Like what, for example? What would that be? Growing faster than you could?
Yeah, definitely that. I mean, I definitely have learned very much through trial and error in my business. I've had mentors, but in the early days I didn't. In the first 5 years, I never had a mentor. I was very much just learning as I went.
Wasn't that fashionable, wasn't it? Like, you know, 10 years ago. Like, who's gonna go look for a mentor? What does it even mean? You're like, you know, you just do things.
That's it. And you would just have to learn through like your own mistakes, I suppose. And I mean, my human design type, I'm for those that are into human design, I'm a manifesting generator and a 1-3, which is I think the 3 line, isn't it, is the trial and error. It's like where you learn. And now I know that about myself. As I say, I've got a lot of examples of things where I've tried to force things before I was ready. You know, something like, let me have a think of a good example. So say someone comes to me and they want, like, you know, like the fanciest, most amazing website, right, to make them look like they're the most like professional setup, all ready to go, but they're not ready to go because they haven't even had one client yet, for example. Right?
Yes, I love that one because that's everybody, right? Let me start. Let me get the best website. That's true.
So this was me, right? I had for my brand GlobeFit before, when it was just me and my one community class, before I'd even created this big brand.
You don't need it. You didn't need it, really.
I didn't need that. And also, that website was not aligned with who I was back then. It showed me to be this professional organization when it was just me and my little class, right?
You know, you're so good to be so honest about it because people are not even honest about that. That's very good.
Like a fake, right? It was like you saw this
That's
website.
true. We make it show like it's a huge thing, and it's just like one person behind your computer.
Yes. So this is it, right? So I had that portrayed of myself, like, and you know, this is what a lot of people want in the beginning. They think that's what they have to have as well. And as I say, that backfired on me because, you know, I would get people coming to me, like influx of people coming, which was, yeah, some people would say that's great, but there was no way. I was not ready to hold that yet, right? So what I, you know, in hindsight, looking back, or this is what I would now tell other people to do is, you know, you need like, a website's good because it's giving you some presence, but make sure it's aligned with who you are right now, like not with the clients that you're going to attract right now. Yes, it's got to look professional to it, you know, but you can't be saying you're something that you're not, like this mega brand.
Yeah, but that's lying. That's lying. And we know that the truth is the highest frequency. Lying will get you not the client that would be lying anyway. So
yeah. Yeah, this is it. And so, you know, there was things that would happen to me, like from me, the way I was portraying myself back then, like before I'd even learned the lessons, and I was sort of saying yes to certain things, you know, like certain contracts, for example. I was getting contracts from big organizations, like going in thinking I was, you know, like already, and like I had no clue what I was doing. And, you know,
and you just put them in there. I love that. You know, I think you are such an amazing woman, Anna, because very few women are able to say that. And I just love that about you. Amazing.
It's true. But, you know, I learned the lessons.
They all pretend.
Had I not done that, though, I wouldn't have learned those lessons, and I wouldn't now be able to advise.
Right. And you wouldn't know how to advise your clients. Yeah, that's true.
So, you know,
it's not about it's not about faking till you make it. Here's, you got a lot of comments here. Oh my God, so true. I've had 3 websites so far and I learned the hard way. You've gone more. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I could give you another example of something I did that backfired on me as well, which is, again, like running before you can walk. So I incorporated, at the time, my brand had different offerings, right? It had like, say, childcare, it had a nutritional aspect to it, it had obviously the hula hooping, dance, fitness, had like some spa, like wellness side to it as well. So that had quite a few branches, but
which is okay because they are in the same
fine,
team.
exactly. But what I made the mistake of doing is separating them all to become different brands. Okay. So because at the time, that's what I didn't know. Again, I had no guidance anywhere. I was learning.
It will sound better when you have like those many things. It sounds like, oh, you're such a busy professional woman. It's like, whoa. Yeah, it's impressive.
So I incorporated all of those different separate.
Did you really?
Companies.
That's pushing it way too much.
Backfired.
Are you serious? And it's cost so much. What for? Wow.
Exactly. And they weren't making money even then, you know, like there was only a couple that were starting to bring in money. The rest weren't. They were still a concept, really. And, you know, I didn't have the advice, like I say, so I incorporated all these different companies. And as I say, that backfired because then I ended up having to pay like the accountancy fees, for example, all these different things. I hadn't thought about any of this, you know, so then you learn, don't you? You learn. Oh,
what did you do then? You closed them and you have only merged everything in one?
Yes, they merged it together.
You know what? We all did the same mistake, but this because you've been an entrepreneur for a few years. And it's funny because we always say, you know, things have gone bad and entrepreneurship is dead, but it's not. It's like you look at the whole journey, and in the journey, there is so much going down, and then you're going up, going down.
And it's how you pivot and adapt, isn't it, as you go? And like, you know, and that's it. You keep walking, but you pivot, you adapt, and you tweak things as you go.
And I think what we can draw from your, you know, beautiful and incredible experience that I am so grateful you're able to actually share in so much honesty and detail. And I really salute you for that. I so appreciate that. And you see a lot of beautiful comments of people appreciating that, is that, you know, simplicity is what makes you succeed. It's not complicating. And we tend to feel that sophistication means complication, but it's not. When you want to be sophisticated, just be simple. Simple is like one thing. That's just you and who you are and what you do, and that's it.
That's it. And eventually, you know, as you can bring a lot of things under your brand, especially if you've got a personal brand, because your brand is you, right? It's an extension of you. And that's like what I had to learn.
And you is just you. It's like one. You can't split it and incorporate it into 10 you. It's one you.
That's it. I mean, as this brand has evolved, I do have a team now, and I do have, obviously I can't go out.
Amazing.
There's a team of people now delivering all of it, but you know, they are very much delivering it my way, like,
because you're the leader for them.
That's it. But you know, when you first start in, so I work with a lot of entrepreneurs that are sort of in their sort of first 5 years, I say, of business, and you know, they want this massive team, they want it to be bigger than it, and it's actually, again, you need to trust in that divine timing and not push. The whole time you're pushing or you're going after and you're sort of almost chasing something, it's getting further and further away from you. You know, it's like
you push it away. So it's about trusting, hula hooping through every loop. I love that because I think it's nice. I'm gonna borrow this name, hula hooping, through every phase of your entrepreneurship life, because that's what we really. But you want to do it with grace, and I think that's what's nice about your energy. It's just there is a lot of grace in it.
And I think it's just coming back, you know, back to the thing that brings you joy and that lights you up. And I think everyone has that. Everyone, even though, you know, some people get lost along the way and they're not sure what does light them up, but eventually you find that thing that lights you up. But some people sometimes are getting, and this was me again, getting caught up in that ego head of mine where like, oh, but that isn't the thing that's going to get me success, like as I perceive success to be then. But trusting that, yes, you know, success is something that brings you joy. It's living a life of alignment and joy. That is success. To me, that is success. And, you know, it's trying to realize, I think, and this is what I advise many of like my clients, is that, you know, when you are in that alignment with your joy, that money is going to follow. Like, it's just going to follow. It's inevitable that it will happen. It's just when you timing knows that, but it will happen.
You need to have faith. You need to have faith that
Absolutely.
the timing will just come at the right time. This is the most beautiful. I just love it. You're such a delight, Hannah, and I want to congratulate you for your amazing story and career and how you are able to share it in a way that actually makes us feel and makes everyone feel like, keep going. You're doing great. Just be happy, be joyful, hula hoop. Connect with Anna to understand how to hula hoop. So we're going to drop your link. If you can just share it in the group, that would be amazing. Or share a post about the amazing work you do, because there are a lot of women will love it. Absolutely, for everyone. Thank you so much for being with us. Hannah, it's such a delight. We're going to definitely bring you back here because we want to hear more about your amazing empire as you're growing and you're doing all this beautiful things. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, it was fun. Thank everyone for being with us. Bye, everyone.